DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone, and it is time to bring in Riley Jensen, our college football expert, mental performance coach, former Utah State Aggie quarterback, also a former Snow College Badger, and briefly a Cougar for, one spring ball. Is that the full resume, Riley? Did I cover it?
Yeah, that's pretty good, dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where'd you play your high school football, Riley?
Cottonwood High School.
There we go.
1 year at Logan High. 1 year at Logan High, and then Cottonwood High School.
There you go. All right. Well, good to have you back talking quarterbacks. And I am curious if you were more intrigued by the three-way quarterback battle, if that is indeed what it is, at BYU, or maybe you see it differently. Or if you're more intrigued by that guy was really good at New Mexico, how's he going to do in the Big 12 in a league that's loaded with quarterbacks? If you're the best quarterback in the Big 12, that is something, because you could have a really good season and be the fifth best quarterback in the Big 12.
Yeah, look, both of these situations are really, really interesting to me. When you're talking about Devin Dampier, obviously he comes with, some pretty good passing yardage and really some electrifying runs and some ability to run the ball that is – probably as good or better than they've seen at the University of Utah in a while. I think the only concern that I have about Devin Dampier is 12 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. It has to be a higher percentage of touchdowns there. I'm sure that that's something that they're working on together to make sure that inside the red zone and outside the red zone that you're getting higher efficiency. Now, that doesn't mean that they still won't run him in the red zone and use him in all kinds of really exciting ways in the red zone, but it still needs to be, preferably a 3-to-1 or a 4-to-1, touchdown to interception ratio. And then when you flip it over to BYU, I've had a chance to watch them now, McKay Hillstead, Trayson Bourget, and Bear Bachmeier, and these are also exciting quarterbacks. I mean, Bear Bachmeier is a super smart kid. Obviously, he was at Stanford. He got recruited by Alabama and just about everybody in the world. And when he throws the ball, it's as electrifying as Dampier will be running the ball. Bachmeier is a big, thick kid that can also run the ball in a different style than Dampier. Then when you watch Trayson Bourget, he's polished. He's a leader. He's a guy that can actually, I feel like he's a leader of men. I think he's really, really good that way. He's got an outstanding personality. And he throws a really, really pretty deep ball. And really is probably one of those quarterbacks that you just love because he kind of takes what the defense gives him. And then McKay Hillstead, out of Skyridge High School, who played really well at Utah State, makes really, really good throws in the red zone, is a very, very polished quarterback, and also a leader. I mean, this is a really tough decision for A-Rod down there. I think right now, just based on and look, every single day, Bear Bachmeier is going to get better, and he's going to get smarter in the offense, and quite frankly, he's picked up the offense a lot faster than he probably should. But I think you have to give a little bit of a lean towards McKay Hillstead and Trayson as far as the offense goes. But you have to keep Bear Bachmeier in that three-headed race because he's just going to get smarter and he's just going to respond better every single day during camp.
When it comes down to it, what do you think is going to be the deciding factor? So for me, and from my experience in being on the college level and then talking to college coaches, the pressure is always on the oldest quarterback in the room because he has to be significantly better than the other guys to win the job. If it's an even situation, you're going to give it to the younger guy in that situation because it leaves your program more healthy for more years. So this is a tough one, and I think if I were the offense coordinator and if I were A-Rod, I would be putting these guys in uncomfortable situations to see how they react to the pressure of an uncomfortable situation. So that could be maybe playing or calling plays that don't really suit their style.
Yeah,
their skill set, and then also putting them in situations, as far as the red zone goes, as far as 3-yard line goes, 25-yard line in, 40-yard line in, where you're telling them it's third down and 18. Can you make a play for us? It's third down and 12. Do you know where we're going with the football if they bring a blitz and you need to check down? And so those are going to be things that are really, really important. I got to tell just a personal story because I was in a 3-way race with Paul Shoemaker and Kevin Federick and myself. I just got to tell a really funny story while we were competing for the job. So I was the guy that was a little bit more like Bourget, maybe not as exciting of runner and those kind of things. But I felt like I was the guy that would take what the defense would give me. But I was very concerned about running the offense the way that it was supposed to be run. So I'm going through and I'm making the reads, and I remember I'm pushing the ball downfield. And sometimes receivers, in spring ball or in fall camp are running the wrong route, so it makes you look bad because you made the right read, but he ran the wrong route. Now you're stuck with the ball and that kind of stuff. And Kevin Federick got up one time, and he ran this play that was, back then we called it red right 63, and it was a deep in by the outside receiver. It was a 10-yard in by the tight end, and then the running back ran a little arrow route out to the right. Both of the guys downfield on 63 were wide open, and Kevin checks it down to the running back, and Norm Chow and all the offensive coaches went crazy with happiness about what a great play it was. And I'm like, dude, both of the guys downfield were wide open. And Kevin Federick, I kid you not, to this day I can remember it, he walks back to the huddle and winks at me like he knew something I didn't. And that was, coaches love it when you check down. And so sometimes when I'm advising a quarterback now, I'll tell a quarterback, like every fourth play, just check down, even if everybody's wide open, because all the coaches will go wild and crazy about the fact that you checked down to the guy because you couldn't see. And they were like, what brought you to that read, Kevin? What brought you to that read? And he's like, well, I couldn't see the guys downfield, so I figured it was better to check down than it was for me to throw into a place that I couldn't see. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just got out veteraned. I got out. And it was a really, really, it actually, coming full circle, when I went up to Utah State and I was competing for the job, I did the same thing, and the coaches went wild about me hitting the check down, and it was, I was laughing. I was like, thank you, Kevin. So there are ways to win a job that are really, really interesting, because they might not even have that. They might not even have to do with like that you're really better, but that the veteran moves and what makes coaches happy.
See, that you would think then that the older guys would have an advantage. And I get your point, although I think how much eligibility is remaining is less and less important as guys transfer all the time for all sorts of crazy reasons. I wondered if what it's going to come down to is not who performs well. Sure, that's a factor, but who performs well enough to win when the schedule is softer in the first quarter, the first half of the season, but who has the highest ceiling? So that, you don't want to mess up 2 or 3 of those first 6 games, right? That would be a disaster. So you've got to be good enough to take care of business and be in good shape coming through the start of the season, but you got to have the high ceiling because they have big dreams at BYU. If you don't have the high ceiling, how are you going to get to your big dreams? So I wonder if they think, okay, who's got the most talent here, and is he going to be good enough in September?
Well, I think your point is well taken, and I think that's like brilliant journalism right there, because that's something that you have to think about in this new world. I also think back just to the Tanner Mangum, Zach Wilson deal, where they started Tanner Mangum early in the year, kind of knowing that the schedule was front loaded,
and then it would just make it easier to bring Zach in and make him the starting quarterback.
But that's not this schedule.
No, it's not. But it can also be like, hey, Hillstead looks great. Let's go with him and let's run him like he wants to run. And then when he gets hurt, then whoever your second string guy is, you're happy about, and he comes in and maybe he runs away with the deal. You know what I mean? And so it gives. I would, in that scenario, if McKay Hillstead is out there making great plays and he's Riley Nelson 2.0 and he's tough and he's running and he's making all these plays, but he's a little bit small, and then he gets injured for 2 games and Bear Bachmeier comes in and just plays lights out, then all of a sudden you have your guy.
Yeah, I mean, that could possibly be as far as that goes. We'll just have to see how it plays out. I wanted to ask you about Dampier, and obviously the 12 and 12 TDs to interceptions just stick out like a big sore thumb. And on the flip side, 1,100 yards that he ran for also.
And 2,600 yards passing? I mean, those are big numbers.
Yeah, 27.68. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know from you, so he had last year, from the rushing standpoint, he had 155 carries, right? And so now he's going to come in, Jason Beck's going to come in, and the offense is going to look at least somewhat, if not significantly similar to what New Mexico ran last year. But just say he runs 20 times a game. Just use that as a round number. How many do you think would be called plays or him taking off on his own?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I talked to an offensive coordinator recently about that, about how do you determine that, and the first answer was, well, it depends how good of a runner he is.
He's electric.
And then, right. And so I think that he will get 8 to 10 called offensive plays. And I think we're going to be looking at 5 to 8 scrambles, or him just making a play with kind of a bootleg or an option where he drops back he doesn't love. And I think 20 is a little high.
Yeah, it probably is. I think he averaged about 13 last year.
Yeah, so I like that number. I think he could get away with 15 carries a game and still stay healthy, because the way that he's built and the way that he took hits, I mean, they're going to be a little bit faster, and he's not going to get quite as many rushing yards. But if he got 800 rushing yards and 2,700 yards passing in the Big 12, nobody's going to be complaining.
No,
I mean, like, nobody. So to me, I think you're looking at about ball play 5 to 7 where he just runs on his own. And I think because he's a dynamic runner, you're okay with that. You're okay with that. But depending on the quarterback, it's different. And then I think depending on your opponent, like how bad do you need to win? How bad do you need to play in the red zone?
That's
Whatever.
the one. I think that was where I was going, Riley. You watch his highlights at New Mexico. They are calling runs into red zone because they know he has an issue with picks. And, the windows are smaller and they close faster, obviously, when you get down there and there isn't as much space. And they're running naked bootlegs. If you have a good running back, which they apparently do, right, after you've sold it and he's run up the middle and all that, the naked bootleg, especially either he's out there by himself or he's only got one guy to beat. And they also look like they shotgun and it looks like a sweep and he's got 10 blockers in front of him. He didn't fake it to anybody. He just runs around the left side and scores.
No question.
And he doesn't get hit on a lot of those plays. So all carries are created equal.
Correct. Red zone, you're going to see a lot more carries. And then also towards the end of the game, you're going to see more carries. So, when you get to third and fourth down conversions in the end of a game and it's tight, it's like, dude, we got to win this game. We got to win this game. And so it becomes one of those things where, as an offense coordinator, you have to be smart because you're trying to keep that number not too high. I think 20 is too high to get him through the season clean. But I think if he averages 13 to 15 carries a game, I think he's okay.
but that's going to be loaded up in the red zone. It's going to be loaded up on 3rd and 4th down. And we've seen offensive coordinators around the state do that, and they're really good at it. They actually have people who keep track of those carries during the game so that they know.
We've seen Taysom Hill as a great runner. How do you think he compares to him?
Well, when I'm watching Dampier, I think he's great. He's a different runner. Taysom, once he got downhill, it was really, really scary. I think Dampier has a little bit more side to side in him, but he also has that ability that once he gets downhill, he's going. So, and they're just different. They're both very electric runners. It's just a little bit different style of running. It would be like, I think, and this is obviously a poor man's version on both of these. Like, I think Taysom Hill would be more like Josh Allen, and I think you're looking at
Lamar Jackson.
Like Lamar Jackson, Michael Vick type of fun with Dampier, right? Yeah. So, but both of them so effective in the run game, right? And so exciting in the run game. So, he's going to be fun to watch, guys.
I agree.
There's no question, and there's no question. Listen, I'm saying this on the radio, and I try to be careful about being too critical of guys that are 18 to 22 years old, but I'm not saying anything that Dampier doesn't already know. He wants his numbers to be 18 to 6 on the year. He doesn't want them to be 12 and 12. He wants them to be 24 and 8 on the year, not 12 and 12. So these aren't things that are like super critical. They're just next level stuff for the quarterbacks that are playing.
Right. Yeah, but I'm gonna expect him to be a little on the lower end of that ratio because I just don't think he's gonna throw the ball in the red zone as much as a lot of quarterbacks do because he's gonna run it in the red zone. 19 touchdowns. There got to be a lot of 5-yard touchdown runs in there, and some people throw it when they get down there, but they're gonna have him run it. I mean, it's Kyle Whittingham. Let's not outthink the room here.
I agree with you. Yeah. But here's I think it's easier to throw the ball from the 20 to the 20.
Right.
So to me, that should be easier to go 18 and 6 than 12 and 12. Right? It should be easier to not throw interceptions in the middle of the field than it is to get in the red zone. And so if he's going to be running all the time in the red zone, then his ratio should be higher.
Well, maybe it ends up being 14 to 5.
Awesome.
Right?
That's phenomenal.
Because he's got 19 touchdown runs over here.
Right. No, I'm okay with that. If it's 14 to 5, that's awesome. That is a great number. If he throws for the same number of yards and it's 14 and 5, that is really, really good football. And then you throw the 19 rushing touchdowns on, you're like, dude, this guy, 33 touchdowns and only 5 picks. We'll take that.
Oh. Sam Levitt, baby.
Sam Levitt.
Sam Levitt.
Now you're talking.
Arizona State. Yeah, but, he had a good practice for a 5-7 team the other day. So, it was.
Are fourth quarter carries different than early in the game? Are defenders gassed and reaching with the arms? Are they still blowing people up?
No, they're gassed, and that's where a good running back and a good quarterback takes advantage of it. I mean, to go back to Arizona State, that's where Scatterboom made his freaking living was in the fourth quarter. Some of those runs that he made that you see on highlights, like I can almost go look them up on PFF right now, and they're almost all in the fourth quarter. Like the big runs, the knock them down, spin move, get down the field, 55-yard runs, they were in the fourth quarter because defenses get gassed. And that's where it's really fun to have a Dampier in a fourth quarter that can make a run because – I'm just telling you, college football is a long game, and if you're not in great shape, fourth quarter is tough. Fourth quarter is really tough.
We've been hearing out of Logan, man. Every time Bronco speaks, they love each other. They're connected. There's a great spirit, all this stuff. I'm just kind of wondering, they had the bad season last year. They brought in a ton of new guys. So what level of truth is it versus spin?
I think that Bronco Mendenhall is fantastic at
rebuilding programs. And I think that whether you're an old BYU fan or an old Utah fan that didn't like the delivery of his message, Bronco is so good in the first 3 years of a program at helping guys to believe in him and helping guys to believe in themselves, because he is very clear and concise with his objectives. There's not one player at Utah State that doesn't know what he has to do to get on the field. It's very, very clear. Now, you might hate the way that where Bronco said stuff like position mastery or quest for perfection or these different things that went on at BYU, but those are really, really healthy things for players to know what he wants out of them. And I look at the great coaches. You look at Kyle, you look at Bronco, you look at Kalani, you look at Chris Peterson in the past. You look at the great coaches back east with Nick Saban. These guys are very clear to players about what it takes to get on the field. And then if you do it, you do get on the field. And so that builds trust. That builds a lot of trust. And so I don't think it's fake right now. I don't think it's manufactured. I think this is what Bronco does really well early in his tenure at programs, and it helps to turn the tide and it helps to turn them around.
Riley, we'll leave it right there for now. We appreciate it as always, and we'll talk to you again.
Okay, man. Thanks, guys. It's the season. Let's go.
Yeah, there it is. Riley Jensen, college football expert and mental performance coach, former Aggie QB.
I'm going outside right now and put my hand in the dirt.
Nice. It's go time, man.
I'm ready.
Snap on that.
I'm ready to hit you.
Snap on that chin strap. Let's go. All right, DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.
This is Hanson Scotty.
Let's do it.
Kalani Sitake.
What is the most you've paid for a concert ticket, and what concert was it?
For me, MC Hammer.
Oh, nice.
I had the parachute pants, all that stuff ready to go. I mean, don't get me started, guys.
No,
you
we
can
won't.
still listen to the stuff right now. It's good, clean, wholesome music. The whole family can have parachute pants and go out.
That's true.
And then do their dances and stuff like that. Can't touch this. I mean, he even had some slow songs. Songs about praying.
Pray.
Come on, man. Like, he's got it all.
What kind of a show is this? Catch Hans Olsen and Scotty G every day from noon to 3 on 97.5 1280 The Zone, powered by KSLSports.com.
Nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at KSLSports.com/contests and listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week, and it's sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. Yeah, man, that's the way it is, man. They sponsor it. It's true. You can't argue it.
Got a question up on our football page. BYU has sold out football and basketball season tickets. Are these the glory days for the Cougars?
Do we have a tennis page? Because you said it's on our football page.
It's on our Facebook page. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I was looking at the word football and blurted out the wrong word.
Because if we'll be careful with that.
Yeah, right. Could go wrong. Could go very, very wrong.
Just Jake Scott.
Hey now.
Something we can't play if we ever get on Sirius, maybe. Yeah, when you look at BYU, man, these are the days. They're washing money. For years and years, they were so cheap. Lavelle Edwards joking with us towards the end of his life. He did the call-in show afterward because they paid me $75 a show. Ha, ha, ha. And we laughed.
We did. It was funny.
And he laughed.
Because it was funny.
Yeah.
He would have preferred 100 instead of 75, maybe even 125.
And Val Hale, I think you did the interview when we had Val on, right? It was one of the athletic directors.
Mm-hmm. I don't know where you're going with this, so I don't know which interview it is.
Well, here recently, he had what did he have? He had a body part. His son gave him, was it a kidney?
I think so, yeah.
And so he's been recuperating and all, and I ran into him down at the LPGA tournament in St. George at Black Desert, our show sponsor, and talked to him, right? And I think Dick Harmon and other people had done stories on him. And so he came on, and he was just talking about one of the ADs. I don't know if it was the university president or the go-between that they have, and the higher administrator said to one of the ADs, now, I want you to make sure that you don't tell anybody your salary. And then the AD responds to the administrator, don't worry, I'm just as embarrassed about it as you are. You remember that?
Good line. Good line.
Yeah. He said that on the air.
That's hilarious.
You're right. Right. And he knew full well he was going to get a laugh because it was a great line.
It was a great line.
Right.
But for all those stories, and I get it, when you look at how much winning happened, and you can draw the line wherever you want, 79 to 84. I think they lost like 6 games in 5 years or something like that.
So what?
They went undefeated. They won the title. They had 2 quarterbacks that went on to win Super Bowls.
And they beat a 6-6 Michigan team. And now they're not going to play Long Beach State.
Nope,
they're
not.
This is set up to be the best time to date.
Yes, if they do what they did last year again and again and again, if this becomes somewhat routine, then these will be the glory days.
They only need to go 8-5 in football, and if they make the Final Four in basketball, these are the best times.
And you're right, because the Final Four, that 79-84 era includes beating Notre Dame in the Sweet 16 to go to the Elite Eight. But you're right, if they top it with the first Final Four, but they haven't done it yet, so they're not the glory days yet.
They're going to do it.
Okay. Yes, if they...
He can't keep bringing in every top dog and not be good. This guy, Kevin Young, he's got to swat away 5 stars.
I get that. But
it's going to happen.
But you covered the Utes when they were really good, and they went out in the 8 and the 16.
And they got to the Final Four.
They did eventually, yes. But they also had very good teams go out. You think that Elite 8 team was awesome.
Yeah.
But it comes down to luck. I mean, they were in the same bracket as when did they run into Kentucky? That determined when they went out in 3 tournaments in a row.
And now it's going to be, when did they run into BYU?
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right.
I really look forward to the spring if that's going to happen.
When did they run into BYU? You want to know when your season ended? When you ran into the Cougars and KY.
You really are on top of your game right now. This is the highlight of the morning for you.
What are you talking about, man?
I teed that up.
I'm just
You teed it up high, and you just drove that thing down the left side of the fairway.
Truth
Bang! 315.
Truth loogies, baby. I'm spitting them. When did you run into the Cougars and KY?
We'll drive to your golf ball first, because mine's over the horizon.
And as far as the playoff, when did you run into the Cougars and KS? I got KY, I got KS. Yeah. And you know what's happening to those other teams? That's a lot of Ks. Strike 3, you're out.
I thought you were going to go with KO, but that works too.
I'm a baseball guy.
I get it.
These are the best of times. They're awash in money. They're hiring people left and right. Travis Hansen, you want a job? It's like Oprah. You get a job. You get a job. You get a job. You get a job. Everywhere you look. I've turned them down 3 times.
Okay, but the only problem with that is they're not the only ones awash in money. Texas Tech, awash in money.
Lubbock, Provo. Come on.
Well, we know what AJ DeVance shows.
Come on, man. These are the best of times. They have to turn away thousands of people. We have no room for you at the inn.
Well, they're going to build a new football stadium at some point, aren't they? I mean, it's a long-term plan. I don't know how long-term is.
I don't know. But that's down the road. I'm talking about right now.
Right now, yeah. Pack the place. Let's go.
I saw where Santiago said they had 20,000 students wanting tickets.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Well, you know, that's the difference between now and the population in Utah County has tripled. Never mind that people come from other places to watch the game.
And the budget at BYU is quadrupled times 100.
It really is. Yeah.
You look at, they got more people sitting behind KY than they do on the court, on the team. The group photo, the team picture, it's a double truck now in a newspaper. That's how big it is.
People don't know what a double truck is.
I do.
You do. That's inside newspaper lingo right there. A double truck? Huh.
That's huge. And this is crazy. He's like, I heard that Kentucky called him up. Nah, we can't squeeze you in. UCLA called him. Nah, we can't squeeze you in. They can't play all the big dogs want to play him now. Anything they can do to be associated with BYU basketball.
They did do, I haven't seen that one draw for the one turn, but it's at least 6, but it's really probably like 8 Power 4 games. I mean, it's a huge number. I mean, the non-conference schedule is so loaded up, you'd think they're Arizona or Gonzaga. Most people don't play a schedule like that.
San Diego State is now willing to play BYU a 3-for-1.
All right.
3 home games in Provo.
One game at Cox Arena.
Yeah.
No, it's something else now, whatever it's called now.
Yeah. That's how you, I mean, gee, my knee.
Just gonna make air sounds and
LeBron has cut off his other son because he chose Arizona over BYU. You don't talk to him no more.
You're out.
Yeah. What were you thinking, son? You had a chance to go to BYU and you said no?
Not on.
That's the way it is. And football, look at them now, man. They got coordinators driving Lamborghinis. They used to drive Tercels. Lance Reynolds would go to practice on a scooter.
He did own a car, but that was a choice.
But it was always in a shop.
Nice. Tony says, sounds like it's sold out ticket times for BYU. Glory days, question marks? That remains to be seen.
No. Come on. The number 1 recruit and Big Bear Bachmeier. Riley just said Alabama.
Alabama.
I don't want Alabama. I want Provo. He had his pick of schools twice.
Ben swats it down. Are these glory days for the Cougars? Ben's response, no. Short and sweet. Get to the point, Ben.
Yeah, but
we don't have all day.
Here's the difference between
Hold on,
me
let
and Ben.
me click on this.
I'll tell you. Want to know the difference between me and Ben?
He's a Ute. Yep, there it is.
I'm going to tell you the difference between me and Ben.
Ben with the Go Utes.
He spelled no, N-O. I spell no.
K-N-O-W.
There's
there it
a
is.
difference there.
Between me
David.
and Ben. Well played. You really are at your best right now.
What is the best of times?
See?
I just told you.
It's PK free association time, people. It's the best part of the show.
He spells no N-O. That's not the way they spell it down there in Provo. They ought to call it Novo because they know what they're doing. That's the new name for their town, Novo. And Santiago and all you people down there, you can run with that. I just gave you something. We know in Provo.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Coming up, top of the hour. The odds makers are weighing in on individual Big 12 players. Quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. What do they think of your Utes and your Cougars as they stack up against the Big 12? For that matter, what do you think about your Sun Devils over there, PK? Very interesting takes. We'll get to that. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present...
This is JJ and Alex.
A school wants to get to the Big 12 so badly. The Memphis Tigers want to get there so badly. I've seen different reports. $200 million was the initial one. I've seen as much as $250 million that they offered. Can we buy our way into the conference? It was a fascinating thing. What's crazy is just as quickly, those rumors were squashed. As soon as they came in, thanks but no thanks, immediately. $250 million turned down by Brett Yormark. That does not sound like the Brett Yormark that I know. With the Big 12 brought to you by Memphis. It's an another conference.
Brought
That's
to you
what
by
they should
FedEx.
do. It should be the Big 12 championship game presented by Memphis University, the American champions of this season.
Our biggest sponsor.
They play it in Memphis. Memphis is not allowed to be in the conference. This is all great. But
We take your money, not your school.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 6. Presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone, and it is a Win Tickets Wednesday. Caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE wins a pair of tickets to see Cyndi Lauper in the final leg of the Girls Just Want to Have Fun farewell tour at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater, August 14th, 801-575-ZONE. Call right now. Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater. August 14th is 1 week from tomorrow. Yak is waiting for your call. PK, we talked a little earlier in the show about your Utah Jazz. George Niang coming home. Briefly, we'll see. See if he actually ends up on the roster. There's time for many things to happen. Trades, buyouts. There's full arsenal of options available for Austin Ainge. They get 2 future second-round picks. They give up R.J. Lewis. And Boston has now, this is a tremendous move by Boston. They were facing all kinds of luxury tax. Their payroll's been reduced from $540 million to $239 million. It's a $300 million summer. You saved your club $300 million? Huh.
I think, that's worthy of more than...
Yeah, right? It's not $600,000.
They have new ownership
million.
and all that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and you got to do that. And that's a lot of money. You can't ask somebody to...
$300 million?
Yeah, that's incredible amounts of money. So, yeah, you got that going on there. And the Jazz pick up a couple of second-round picks for this other guy.
For a trade exception, basically. They use their trade exception to get the picks. I'd be surprised if Niang is playing for the Jazz. Maybe he will, but doesn't he just take time away from Bryce Sensabaugh and they want to figure out what they have in Sensabaugh?
Well, sure, on the surface, but can we get past this at some point?
Past what?
Figure out what you have in Bryce Sensabaugh? You've had 2 years.
Yeah. Well, we found out with Kessler in the third year. So I think for the guys in that draft class, they got 3 guys who are going into the third year, need to really see what you got. And the difference between Kessler year 2 and year 3.
Sure. But
right? But I think to your point, they're going to have to pay these guys. I mean, the rookie deals don't last forever here. So, yeah, you got to find out this is the guy and I'm paying him, or this is not the guy. Next.
I'm not asking for snap judgments.
Year 3 is not the snap judgment.
I don't want this thing to continue to linger.
I get it.
So shouldn't they already have an idea of what they have in Sensabaugh?
Yeah. And I think they do, probably an idea.
Okay, but you made it sound like you're starting. Find out what you have means I don't know what I have.
Well, he can shoot it. Okay, but when you're young and they protect your minutes and they make sure that you don't go out there and you don't defend the other team's starter and you don't have to necessarily shoot against the other team's starter, well, that changes this year because the veterans who are playing a lot of those minutes are gone, and now you're going to have to play first quarter and fourth quarter minutes. We haven't seen Sensabaugh try to shoot in the last 5 minutes of a close game very often. I mean, we did a little bit when they cleared the bench, and then he shot it well enough and he didn't play a few times. But that's different now, night after night. Do it again and again and again. I mean, we had an idea what they had in Kessler after 2 years, but after 3 years, we all have a much better handle on it. But we had an idea when we sat there and talked to him at training camp. But it's like, you got to do it. You got to do it every night. We've seen the flashes. We know what you're capable of, but bring it every night.
I want serious evaluations to be over. Get to it already.
I think what you said earlier is really important here, and because they share the last name, I don't think people fully absorb that. Austin replaced Danny. It's not the Ainge era, and all the decisions don't remain the same. Austin didn't draft these guys. He's not tied to these guys the same way. If he looks at them and evaluates them and doesn't think they're going to play, I don't even know that they're going to invest a full year in them. You can invest a half a year in a guy and sit him on the bench. You can invest half a year and put him in a trade and move him. I mean, we were talking earlier about marketing. Hey, there wasn't a market for him yesterday. Traded yesterday. When will there be a market for him? Well, when there is, who's to say he'll be the only guy going? Maybe there'll be more than one player in the deal. Maybe there'll be more than one team in the deal. Who knows? So some of these guys, I wouldn't wait around for game 60 to show what you have. Maybe you need to show it in the first 20 games of the year before they go out and make a trade. Because Austin didn't pick these guys.
No, he didn't pick them, but he's not brand new to them. No. They're not they may be brand new to him.
Nope. He talked at that press conference about that he was prepared to take over the Jazz draft, even though Boston was drafting late and they were looking at different guys and the Jazz were drafting early and they're looking at a different pool of guys.
Yeah.
He says every NBA team has to look at everybody because this is our chance to have a one-on-one conversation with them, get to know them. So in 3 years, if we have a chance to trade for them or if whatever, we have to have that info. So everybody scouts every guy. And especially with the size of
made
staff.
some forms of evaluations in his own mind.
100%. He's watched Jazz games.
Yes.
While he was in Boston. You watch the whole league. I mean, obviously you watch it when you play him. When your team plays him, you're going to see that. But with his dad running that other club and with him having gone to college here, the East Coast games are done. There's a West Coast game on. Were there some nights he flipped on a Jazz game? Of course there were.
And I've heard some stuff, but I don't really want to get into that.
Do you think he's made the preliminary judgment? Is it a little bit like A-Rod? 70-80% of the way there. I kind of know what I want to do, but BYU is going to have a scrimmage, and A-Rod is going to confirm in his mind. Mm-hmm. And if it is what he thinks, he also wants the rest of the team to see it. And Ainge, he's 70-80% of the way in judgment on guys, but he's letting young guys develop and confirm it. I think this guy can do this, but let's see him try to do it against a starter in the NBA.
I think by Thanksgiving, we'll have good ideas on what he thinks, along with Will Hardy thinks.
Because we'll be able to look at 15 or 20 games worth of playing time.
Yeah.
And it'll be pretty apparent.
Right.
And that might be the thing where they give somebody 15 games and they can do it or they can't and they move on to the next guy.
I don't know that they'll do that.
Oh, really? That surprises me.
I think that they'll go with the guys who they think can do it, who have earned the right through practice.
And some will.
But I don't think they'll give somebody a tryout.
Agreed. Right.
Well, that's what thought you were saying.
No, I think somebody, they'll say, I think this is the guy. Let's see if he can do it. Off what we've seen, this is the guy. But after 15 or 20 games, if it isn't the guy and the other guy on the bench is performing, then there's a change in the rotation.
For sure.
Then there's a change.
There'll be no doubt about that.
Yeah, I don't think that they, I think they'll show enough patience that you're not getting judged on 2 games here.
Right.
But you know what? If you can't do it over 15 or 20 games, well, let's see if this guy can do it over 15 or 20 games.
But
it's
the
not
guy
given,
who gets
it's
the
earned.
15 or 20 first has earned it.
Exactly.
We're not just going to.
It's what you've done.
Draw lottery.
No. It's what you've done to this point.
Yeah.
It's what happens when you scrimmage behind the closed doors during their September, October when we don't get to see them. Well, we never get to see behind their closed doors in their practice. But who's kicking the other guy's butt in practice? And you know if you get to watch it. I mean, we don't get to watch it, so we won't know. But the players know, and the coaches will know.
I think this season we will see serious evaluation.
Some guys, yes. Some guys will clear the bar the way Kessler did a year ago, and some guys will not. They're not going with these 9 guys going forward. And especially when it gets to the time where you got to give them, big money contract extensions.
Right. I mean, you simply can't afford
everyone. You simply
everyone.
can't. And a few will be chosen, and a few will move on. And if Austin Ainge makes a trade, like you said, if he's watched at Thanksgiving and then there's a trade to be made in December or January, there's no guarantee these 9 guys are going to finish the season here.
I wouldn't think
nothing.
they would.
Yeah, if you're playing the odds, I get why you'd say that.
Right.
And the other thing is, okay, so Austin would watch the Celtic games and he watched the Jazz games. But he's watching other games around the league. Right now, and he obviously can't tell us who and won't tell us who, but he's got his eye on somebody who's 9th, 10th, 12th player on the bench in some other team, wondering if he can pry that person loose and give them a shot.
Yes.
That's going to happen.
He's been putting in some serious time on this gig. And so he's going to be prepared to do what he thinks is the right thing to do. I have a lot of faith in this, I want to say kid, because I knew him when he was a kid.
But he's in his 40s, so he's not really a kid. He's middle-aged.
Right.
And that means we're,
Yeah. I was only 2 years older than him when I was covering him.
Good.
Yeah. And so he's sharp. and he has good instincts.
And motivated and has a chip on his shoulder because he knows he gets judged on his dad's last name.
As he has his whole life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But he also knows if they go out and win, then you don't have to listen to a lot of that. And you always say, and you've advised all of us, whenever we're looking and assessing something, find somebody who has a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
Right down to when you're talking to your own kid. You know, you didn't get the starting job on whatever sports team or the lead role in whatever play or the best grade in whatever class or test score, whatever your goal is, have a chip on your shoulder. Go get it the next time.
Right, because everyone's going to get slapped down.
Yeah.
It's just part of who you are.
Yeah.
And what do you do about it? And what level of motivation do you have to just stick it to them? That is so sweet. I sit here as a living example. You just got me fired up again.
I brought that up.
They all came flooding back to me.
See? We're not putting you on the Olympics. I don't really want to be on the Olympics, except that I know you're putting the best people in your mind on the Olympics.
Uh-huh.
I'd rather write football and basketball than ski jumping and moguls.
1000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you grew up in Arizona and you never skied the moguls. You don't know what the deal is.
It irritated me to no end that I didn't get to do something I didn't want to do.
And see, you won on that. I had to go cover the Olympics, and then you were at the Marriott Center when BYU and Utah played a game, and there was a 20-point comeback, and it was bedlam and chaos. It was the rivalry at its best.
Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to do.
Just a chaotic game.
Yeah, I remember.
That place just had to be buzzing.
Oh, it was, yeah.
The Ute fans were buzzing when they took a big league. The Cougar fans were buzzing when they came back. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be a winner and a loser and all that. But, man, that wasn't some rando pedestrian February college basketball game that everybody ignores. It was awesome.
Yep.
That was two really good teams playing at a high level.
I remember it. It's fun to be there.
Yeah.
Especially then, you sat press row, which was on the court side, not up at the moon side.
Up above the TV cameras.
Uh-huh.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. When we come back, the odds we promised you, odds makers speaking out on the best offensive skill players in the Big 12. QBs, running backs, wide receivers. What are they saying about the Utes and Cougars? We'll tell you next.